in terms of the subject.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Bertie Roux Live. It's 4 o'clock, and we're having a discussion with Bertie about everything in his world. We're talking about vision with imagination is our overarching topic, and we're going to delve deep into a couple of concepts. Bertie, looks very interesting there where you are. Where are you at the moment?
I'm actually sitting here nicely relaxed, and I thought I'll share the background with you. So the lighting might be just a little bit not as clear as you want to, but I am part of a team having a bosberaad, as we call it, a strategic planning session here away from the office, because that is the place where you have to have a strategic session, not at the office, because then you just don't move on in terms of your thoughts. So we're here out at Mambalingwe in the Waterberg, in the province of Limpopo, South Africa. So coming live from here, and I led to believe that there's elephants and giraffes often free roaming, and herds of buffalo that come between these lodges that I'm in at the moment. But in the meantime, just enjoy the clear skies and the beautiful green lushness of Limpopo.
Usually, you'll also find buffaloes in the boardroom. That you tame those buffaloes yet?
Yeah, the interesting thing is, when you follow the principles that we've spoken for so often in terms of the vision with imagination, the team that is part of the strategic team, they have a different mindset, because they are not held responsible and accountable now. Because the point of departure is not where we're at the moment and where we've been and where we should have been, all of those kind of things. Nothing. We're creating a future, and all the plans and everything that we do is based on moving where we've not been before. Hopefully it's not been before. And if we have been there, how can we do it different, better, more efficiently? So yes, we don't have different animals here, because there's no egos at play in this planning session.
Bertie, that's a big thing to know, that to be aware of when you're dealing with people and you're trying to develop them. There's a couple things at play. The one is, it surprises me that you say there's no egos, because usually you have some egos that you deal with. You have certain kinds of people in that session. There's the guy that knows it all, and they don't think you can teach them anything. Then there's the guy that don't participate at all. They sit and they either on their phone or look at their watch or look at the sky, etc. You have the overachiever. You have the person that's like really eager to answer, and they're like really participating. It's a little bit annoying, because you would like that energy spread to the other people, and then you just have the guys just working with you. And then sometimes you have someone that's really difficult, that kind of in a subtle or passive aggressive way opposes everything that you're saying. So do you also find that in your groups that you work with, and how do you deal with that?
Fortunately, I come with this group for quite a while, and the dynamics that you've explained is often very much part of a boardroom setting, an exco or a board of directors, where every individual need to make certain that they tell everybody else how important they are. And last year, if I take myself back, it's just around about a year ago, where we did the session and we kicked it off with the subject being vision with imagination, and we really created a vision for this organization by moving every single one of the team into space in their mind's eyes, and created a pull approach to solutions and opportunities for the company. We absolutely moved away from the old concepts of a vision and a mission for the company, and did the SWOT analysis. I said to the guys, let's just move away from it. Let's look at the industry, the potential of the market they play in, and not dwell too much in the past. So By moving it into space, there was no ground that they had to protect, because everybody in space was equal. And we created that, and we created the vision. And I'm glad to say that if we look at what happened in the past 12 months, phenomenal things happened. And we don't have enough time here, but I can honestly, sincerely share with you that a lot happened to this organization, because they created this imaginative vision for the organization. And it was tough, because at the end of the day, they said, but how can we create this imagined vision? You know, you have to stick with the truth, with reality. And I said, no, if your mind can perceive it, you can achieve it. So we created this, and when they were still uncertain about that, we checked ourselves in terms of saying, but what if we can achieve this vision? And if we don't believe we can, what if we can achieve portions of that? So Ivan, that's where we started, and we created that, and all of a sudden, everybody's focus was open. So it's really the bird's eye view, looking at the globe, everything smaller, from the continents down to the country, to the province, down to the boardroom, from outer space, with no limitations. And everybody contributed to everybody else's departments, and it was free flowing. We great success. But we then created this situation where the law of attraction, I'm certain and convinced, took over. The approaches this company got in the last 12 months are phenomenal. From what they never thought before they would get involved in it. And the answers lie in that. They said, if somebody asks you, say yes, and then figure out how. So that was what happened up to now. So when we moved into this boardroom, and today, and I hope they forgive me, for those of you that know me well and know where I'm involved with, that yesterday, and I shared it just now with Ivan, and I wish to share it because I think it also made a difference to the whole atmosphere in this session. I said to them, guys, here's a pack of crayons. Here's an A1 sheet from a flip chart. Now, everyone, each of you, me included, go to your little corner, and now you draw. You make sketches of what's in your mind in terms of where's the company at, where do you see the what company has to go, what is troubling anything you want, anything, issues about the people, are they teams, are they working together, is departments in cohesion, anything. You just went in there, and the comments were quite funny but joyous. With the guy who's saying, yes, I'm now 50, 60, and I'm back to kindergarten. I'm drawing sketches. But it's phenomenal what came out there, because the guys had to be the challenge. In other, the creativity took over, not just words. They could only use one letter and one numerical figure next to each other. Nothing to be written. That's all they could do. So I could say A1. That's fine. And yes, it makes a difference. The company is working from a pull approach, absolutely a pull approach. No pushing, not for where we're at, and we must move from here onwards. No. We are still sketching something out there in space, in the sky, pulling the organization towards an impossible dream.
So, Bertie, it sounds to me like, you said, you mentioned that you were with this group for a while and you were working together. So I mentioned a challenge that you have when you initially start with the group. There's that friction, etc. But I think over time, what happens is you build trust with people, with that group or with a group of people, and now it becomes easier to work with them. Where does that trust come from? Do you think it's because of relationship? Do you think it's because of the results that you get and now they trust you more? How important is trust, and how do you get that when you're working with people?
It is not easy, because remember, when you move around, you have a couple of labels on you. If you're an HR manager, they stick a label on your forehead, and that's what it is. You talk about people. Your expertise is people. You've got nothing to do with with production and marketing and sales or whatever. And so you can every single one. And so often in a team, everyone get their label. And when they make a contribution somewhere, the concept and ideas is, what do you know? But we all have a contribution, so we need to create and develop communal thinking and trust. And often that is created where we take on the concept of a whole brain thinking. In other words, my thinking preference might be from a different perspective, human resource or creativity or intuitive thinking, and other people bring the realism, and the others bring the organization in, the control and the and rules and regulations. But everyone brings to that table a uniqueness, and we trust that when they talk from that uniqueness, they know what they're talking about. So we don't debate and argue topics where normally egos will come into play, because I need to have a say about that subject too. No, we start to trust each other. So if that person's contribution is made, we know that he or she won't make a contribution just because they feel that it's about time that they make an interjection. No. When they make a contribution, it's from their line of thought, and it normally based and grounded in facts. Okay. And out of that, you start trusting people. So you spend less time on arguing about, I don't want to say niceties, but on, nonsense. Because everybody has to have a say. And at the end of the day, we've all said the same thing. So you need in the boardroom or in the team, understand and appreciate one another. And I say again, that comes with time and it's trust. And that is really one of the biggest challenges of any coach, because until the coach has created a relationship that is founded on trust, the growth of both parties doesn't necessarily take off effectively. We need to build that first, and that's why effective coaching sessions takes a long time. Not in terms of 90 minutes or 60 minutes. It takes a couple of weeks, months, sessions, and sometimes years. And when a coach get involved, very much involved in a company and get to that entrusted position, it's almost a lifelong relationship. And many coaches have got their own coaches, and they come with them for a long time because they know that individual know them inside out. So that is crucial. It's understanding that. And then obviously the last, my pet word, is courage nowadays I talk about. So the team must have the courage of their own conviction to trust the others unconditionally. Yes, if I don't understand, I will challenge and seek clarity. But if it's not my field of expertise, I accept, because I know that person is the person with that expertise, and vice versa.
Bertie, earlier you mentioned that you guys went away to the Bushveld, this Bosporot concept, and you mentioned that it's important for you to take the guys away from the office. Can you share with us why it's important to get the guys away from the office in this environment? Are they more invested? Is there better focus? You also mentioned about cognitively working through everything. Delve for me a little bit into that.
I'm smiling because I want to use an example, and it might be funny to some, but often when one go on holiday, you would take your dog or your cat to kennels to look after your animal. And it's interesting. We had a beautiful cat that passed on, a year or two ago. But she went to this cattery, and then they've got a concept. They put all the cats together. Each has got a little place where they can sleep individually, where you put down their little a little pillow or the little blanket. But it's an open space. Because the interesting things, the cat's not fighting, because nobody is protecting their domain. To every single cat that's there, it's new space. So they're not fighting. So, but if another cat will go into our garden, our cat will attack it because now it's moving into their space and they're protecting their space where they are the dominant cat and the only cat. And very much the same happens when we're doing planning sessions and so forth from the same environment. I want people to get away from the comfort zone, the protection, that I know everything. There must be an element of discomfort. And that's what we created with the sketches that we created on the A1s, just to take you away from the comfort zones, because you know your subject so well. And if I ask you to talk for 10 minutes about what you do, man, it has happened like that. Now I take you away. Now you're somewhere else where nobody has to protect their domain here. You choose a chair, any chair that was open when you arrived. There's not a chair where there was a pecking order in terms of who sits in front, closer to the screen, closer to the CEO, and further away because of you're a junior or whatever. No, those pecking orders are gone. So everything that happens, and even your bed, you're sleeping, and who's making the food, it's based on the luck of the draw. Whether you're making breakfast, and which is eggs, or just making a fruit salad. All those kind of things, when you're away from home, just create that little, that almost leveling off of us all. And then there's immediate comfort. And through comfort comes trust and comes openness, and we share, and things just happen. And and what you want to achieve just happen at a higher speed. Whilst at the office, there's forget about the interruptions. The secretary comes in and says, "Sir, there's an urgent call for you," and so forth. Now those calls are cut. It doesn't happen. So having a planning, even if you just move from your office or from your boardroom across the street into a little B&B, Airbnb with a boardroom, just change the scenery, and you'll be more effective.
Bertie, you were talking about a new approach. I liked what you said there, and you were talking about let's not do the same things like vision, mission, SMART goals, all those kind of things. Why do you think those things don't necessarily work anymore? And how, because this new, when you brought in the crayons, etc., what are some of the new methods, or how can we come up with new innovative ways of breaking down our goals and vision, talking about what we want to achieve, and developing this vision with imagination?
I'm glad you said it. That's my view, and I see it more and more when people write about these things. If I enjoy using examples. Let's take an example of a sports team. I enjoy the concept where a team says, "Listen, I'm not interested in what my opposition is going to do. We understand the game, and we understand where they come from. Maybe they when it comes to football or soccer, for that matter, that they've got strengths on the attacking wings and midfield and the defense. We know certain things. But if you go out and say, listen, we are better than them, and we will be better. We'll be faster. We'll be stronger, and we'll do the basics better. If I just take those three elements, faster, fitter, and the basics, we do better than them, then we set the pace. And that follows suit. If we're good at that, they will have to challenge us. I'm not going to try to see how can I defend against the faster wing, and the kicker that can kick 50, 60 meters. Don't worry about those guys. If you are good enough and you're focusing on your game, they will never have the opportunity to kick. So why worry about the kicks? Okay. So you enforce your terms and conditions on that game from the kickoff. Now, when I go through these strengths, weakness, opportunities, and the threats, I'm taking so much of the past, which sometimes are problems and concepts that is limiting our beliefs. I take into that planning session. And I start there. And I'm saying, don't. I'm not interested in that anymore, because I am honestly and sincerely believing that times today, it passes so quickly that if you try to compete with somebody else, you're going to lose the game. You must make quantum leaps in your own mind and become the leader, and don't worry about the competition, and say, listen, if they want to compete, they must change from being followers, because they're going to follow us. So in my thinking, I can use what I have, but from a different perspective, from a pool perspective. So I talk and share with the idea and the concept of quantum leaps. I cannot make little baby steps anymore. I don't have time for it. If I do that, I will lose out against the competition. So I must make quantum leaps in anything I do, and start with my thinking, so that I can create my own future according to my rules. And if the competitors are there, I can just use them as examples of how you should not do it. And that's my point of departure. To me, it's simple. To me, it's really simple. You sit there, and we know who we are, and we create our future, and we see our future, and we use that as a point of departure, and we create it. Once you've created, you pull there, and then you will have this chasm in between for where I'm at the moment and where I want to be. And then I close that gap with quantum leaps. And then I'll be ahead of the pack, and I'll be able to stay ahead of the pack.
I love what you're saying, Bertie. My mentor teaches us that we shouldn't focus on our competition. In fact, he says, I don't pay attention to my competition at all. I focus on my strengths and I double down on them. And, I had a very powerful kind of revelation a couple of years ago, probably 2-3 years ago. As a person, you might think that you're in competition with other people, but you're a unique individual, and you're not in competition with anybody else, because you have a unique calling and a purpose in life. And so I think that's very important. Thank you for sharing from your current experiences and what you're doing this week and where you are, etc. Now we can actually dive into what I wanted to talk about, and that is you just did a talk last Friday at an event called Kickoff 2021, and you did a talk on this subject as well, vision with imagination. So my topic that I wanted to discuss today or talk about is you have now done a presentation with, I think it's over 120 people, which is phenomenal. Is there something that you've learned? You've been able to watch a little bit of the comments. You are obviously getting feedback from family members, etc. From doing that presentation and actually presenting your material for what is probably an hour, what did you learn from that experience, presenting it to that 120 people?
The first awareness, as always, has been that I still have butterflies when I start to talk. Doesn't matter how well prepared I am, I always have that almost discomfort. But leading on to my own talk, what I learned from fellow speakers, and there were 29 of us, what I learned from that is that the caring and the giving and the sharing that each and every one has made almost the base of the talk, because there's so much so many troubled people out there that is hurt and it is uncomfortable, that almost see no hope for them for the future. So they're at their wits' end of what to do, and most of these speakers really addressed it. Some have spoken about ways of protecting your wealth and creating wealth, making more money, which is important, whether we talk about investing in property or in bitcoins or gold or whatever the case may be. But the bulk of them spoke about investing in yourself, and investing in yourself and learning more about yourself so that you can trust yourself more. Because unfortunately, when you lose your job, the first thing that goes through to your mind is that I am not good enough. Okay, and that's human. I've been there. I've been there a couple of times in my life. That one day you're something, and the next day you're walking in the streets and try to find a job because you've got responsibilities. So I understand that 100%. But then the quicker you get to the point where you trust yourself again and believe in yourself, you can make the change. And all these speakers was with that's a common thread that through those talks is to help people to understand. Yes, there's programs that were promoted there. We can go and spend a couple of weeks, couple of days, couple of hours, just learn the ways of trusting yourself, entrusting yourself again, finding yourself and finding your core essence, your differentiators. So I've learned that there is so many people that want to share and give, and many of the programs that was offered was free of charge. Ivan, so it was really kickoff to 2021, and Kobus Visser, they called himself the Superman, a firewalker. He's put it together, but that was his purpose, because he knows a lot of people need help with 2021. Okay, and I was just fortunate to be one of them. And my vision with imagination is really to help people to understand, if you don't have a vision, if you don't know where you're going, it is difficult to get up in the morning and go on a path leading to nowhere. I fully understand that. So we are there, I am there to help you to define your path. You mentioned it, your uniqueness that you were born with, and those unique gifts that you were given by God to base your life and to live your life on. So that was a privilege to be part of this speakers team.
Maybe someone that were there. Let's assume someone watches this and they were there, or someone were there and you had an opportunity to engage with them. Let's say I watch this specific talk. What is the next step? So let's assume people watch the talk, they're watching this, and you can speak to them. Or I wasn't at the talk, but I love what you've said over the last few weeks. What is the next step for me? How do I engage with you, with the program? What do you want people to do?
Okay, if you take my program for example, and what I spoke about, so you've obviously got an option to engage with me and invest in my program. Okay, so they can take you through the process, which is covered under the common thread, which is vision with imagination. So you can do that, or you can just sign up for a couple of coaching sessions so they can help you to work through things with yourself. But the course itself is very much a one-on-one basis, because it is not a course where there will be 100 or 200 or 1,000 participants. No, it is based on mastermind principles, small teams, 10 to 12 max, so that there's interaction and learnership, so that we can find bespoke solutions for every single individual. So, and then, if somebody just listened to my program, such as the case with the other speakers, and just took some notes down and just followed those, it will and would have made a change in their lives already. So it's just not, a sales pitch. It is really a value add presentation that was delivered to add value to a person's life that listened to it. But if they want to pursue it further and make it more longer lasting and life changing, just embark either individually or through the course.
That's awesome, Bertie. I think I got what I needed from today. I'm glad we started talking about that other thing, because that was really powerful. We've got a exhortation here by Marinda. I don't know if she's still watching. She says, your presentation was excellent, Bertie. So I also saw her on social media talking about this event and that she's happy that she could be there, etc. So if you're watching, Thank you, Marinda, for watching and supporting Bertie and everything that he does. Yes, Bertie, giving you a thumbs up there. So thank you, Bertie. Are
Thank you very
you
much.
planning on at least taking a little bit of a break? Do you get some downtime? Can you take in the sights around you?
We do take a break or two, but it's not raining at the moment, but it's rained yesterday, it rained last night, it rained this morning. I think even the animals out there is a little bit miserable about the wetness. Just sitting back and just enjoying the space and the openness and the fresh air is enough to recharge batteries. So we will be leaving on Friday morning after a couple of sessions. But yeah, there's no much hiking out there or game driving. We're just enjoying the environment and and let's call it the atmosphere that the veld brings with it. And I'm certain that will help a little bit recharging the batteries.
Awesome. Thank you for everyone that's watching right now. We appreciate you, and those that's watching the replay. Remember, you can ask any question below in the comments, and Bertie will answer you. Also, if you want to reach out to Bertie, this is on Facebook. So you can just go and send him a private message on Messenger. He will gladly answer you there. And we're really, both of us, especially Bertie, to serve you and to help you reach your goals and to get your vision with imagination just really communicated to yourself and to the world out there. Thank you for sharing, Marinda. I appreciate it. Thank you, Bertie, and enjoy the rest of your week there in the Bushveld.
I'll definitely do that. And for everybody out there watching, thank you very much for your attention and your time. Appreciate it. And I hope we've also brought something to you today that you can take away with you and make part of your future life. Thanks again for your time, and thanks for Ivan. I much appreciate that, and good luck. And as I say, please stay safe.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. See you next week, next week, Tuesday at 4 o'clock.